Hi guys, this is Debbie with Debbie J's Crafting Corner. Today we're going to be creating this simple You Have Me in Stitches card. I decided to go ahead and do an additional card, and I'm going to use this last stitching die set, stamp and die set that came in this month's club kits, and this one is the clear stamp and die of the month, and that is for this, I just think it's pretty cool. To start off with, and I will include the name, right now it is it's about 9:30 in the morning and my brain is not actually functioning yet, so I again forgot the name. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and stamp this out and start creating a card with it. What I think I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to stamp and emboss that design for the color wheel because I think that's pretty cool. I think I'm going to actually stamp it out with some VersaFine, and that's so that it has that nice bold black line and also makes it easier for me to work with. And then I'll use some clear embossing powder over the top. And for this first one, I am going to just stamp off the edge. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'll go ahead and emboss this first one. And I think I want to have another one. Actually, I'll move this over a little bit. I'm going to have another one over here in this corner. And again, luckily it did not shift because I've got that shadow right there, that little ghosting from the ink that was still left on my stamp. Okay, so it's ghosted a little bit, but I think that is still going to be good enough. Let me go ahead and emboss that one too. So the next thing that I wanted to try to do, of course, was color in all of these all of these areas on my color wheels, and it turns out that I don't have a full range of colors in my ink pads to be able to do that. So what I'm doing instead is I'm going to do kind of a combination of some of my newest and most favorite colors from Catherine Pooler, because these are some of my favorite colored inks that I'm using, and that's going to be the Suede Shoes and All That Jazz for blue, and then Tutti Frutti and Party Dress for kind of a brighter pink and orange. That's what the colors are, but I feel that they're related enough that this is going to work. Now there's a stamp that is just basically a triangle, and that allows you to stamp within your piece there. Now this one is a new stamp, and it wasn't exactly, it looks like it didn't give me as good of coverage as I wanted. I think there's a couple of places on there where there's probably something on there that shouldn't be. I'm gonna go ahead and try cleaning it off real quick, and hopefully the next stamping will do a little bit better. So let's try one more with the All That Jazz. And then go in with the other pieces on the All That Jazz. I'm going to go ahead and do all of the stamping with each color and then go on to the next. And of course I'm not, hey, let go. Of course I'm not getting the lining up exactly perfect because I don't do this type of stamping that often. And I'm kind of liking just that white, and I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this one in blue. I already changed my mind. Now, I told you guys that I do pretty much all seat of my pants crafting, and this is a perfect example. I changed my mind midstream. So I'm going to do this one just in the blues, and I'm going to go blue, white, like I did the All That Jazz, which is kind of a blue-green tealish color. Oh, that one stamped good. So it's probably just that I was not stamping solid enough, or it's just that it's a new stamp and needed to condition itself a little bit. Oops, and I already messed up. No worries, I'm just going to roll with it. I'm going to leave it like that, like it was supposed to be there, and just leave the two whites there and two whites there. And you guys know that I messed up, but whoever gets the card probably isn't going to notice. So the next thing that I want to do is to stamp out some of these extra pieces. And looks like it's clean on the stamp pretty much in that center. Okay, so that one looks pretty good. So now I've got 4 of those that I can go ahead and emboss. And then I'll just hit that with my heat tool. And I was thinking I would just kind of watercolor, but I just changed my mind. What I'm going to do instead is use this. Actually use the back of the stamp to color in those, basically those blocks. I think that's going to be kind of cool. I'm going to just experiment on one and see how it does first, and then we'll go with it. And I don't think I actually need my stamp platform for this part. So that looks like it's pretty straight across. Let me just take a look. Okay, that looks like it'll be a pretty good mask. Okay. Let me pull off another piece. Do the same thing for the bottom. Okay, it is a little bit of a curve, and that is the part that I was a little bit concerned with. So let's see if I can cut a little bit of a curve to try to have it kind of match up with the bottom. I think that is good enough. Okay, so I think that one is pretty good. Let me double check the other. See, so the top doesn't look like it's got a curve on it, but the bottom one does. Okay, so now let's go ahead and ink up the back of that stamp, especially in the middle, and then line it up right over the top of this. And it didn't actually stamp on there like I told it to. Come on. Okay, and the reason for that is that there is all that... The same thing that happened on this one, where when you press it down, it squished a little bit too much of the center. This one, now it's not wanting to allow me to press down at all any of the center. So this time I'm going to just try to go over that center. It's got all the stitching. Give it a little mist, which I didn't do the first time around. Let's see if I can get this one to go down right. Okay, that one did cover most of it, but I am going to go back and use a little of this extra ink with a watercolor brush to fill in the parts that didn't. And then take off the mask, and we'll see how badly this one looks. Bottom looks pretty good. And the top is decent. It's got a lot of that extra white. So I'm going to say that for this technique, it probably is going to be, you need to either get a good mask, meaning cut out the whole thing and then cut out the parts that you want, or just go in with a water brush and color in your image. So I think I'm going to go ahead and do that on this one, because it's actually taking less time just to color it in with a water brush. The extra dies that come in this set, let's take a look at those. We've got one that cuts out that the color wheel, and then we've got this one that's going to actually cut out our little thread, our floss holders. So let me grab that, and I'm going to go ahead and die cut each of these out, and we will see how they look like when I get that finished. Okay, so while I was trying to decide how I wanted it to look, I thought it would be kind of cool to have one of these stitched oval frames. I love the eyelet look of that, and I thought it could go around in the center, but now the more I think about it, I'm thinking having it offset to the side a bit would probably be pretty cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the outer frame. Here's that die. This is one that was out a few months ago. It's got an outer frame, it's got the eyelet detailing in the center, and then it's got an inner frame to be able to cut out this perfect oval. So I'm going to use the outer frame to cut an oval shape out of here that's going to fit perfectly behind my die there. Okay, so that looks pretty cool. So I'll have that, and then I'll have my frame around it, and then I'll have my little stitching thing there that I think I still may put some thread around as well, and I still have plenty of room to add a sentiment. Okay, so I went ahead and stamped and die cut out the little sentiment that says "You have me in stitches." I think that'll be super cute. And when I cut this out, it did leave all of the little dots in, so I'm going to go ahead and get those cleaned out, and then I can start assembling my card. Okay, so I'm going to try getting some of this ink off just using my sand eraser. I got a big enough fingerprint on there, it's really bugging me. I'm going to probably cover it with the sentiment, but I did want to try to get most of that off. Okay, so that looks pretty good. I do still like that blue down in the corner there, and then I've got my little eyelet piece around the top. That is going to look adorable, and I'm going to go ahead and pop that up on some foam tape. And for that, I'm using this that I've got from scrapbook.com because it's about a 1/4 inch, actually about a 1/2 inch wide, and I'm going to just basically put it behind my frame here and curve it around. Now that does mean that this is probably going to be seen, and actually the easiest way to curve it is to pull the paper off both sides, because then you can just kind of wrap it. Does stick to your fingers a bit though. Okay, I am getting it about in the center, and that's one thing you do want to do with this because you don't want to cover up any of that pretty border. Okay. And this is also a good way to be able to do it if you're wanting to do, like say, a shaker card, and you've got a round or oval or curved in any fashion frame that you're going to be using. Okay, and then I'm going to put this right over my image here. To do that, I am going to, well, before I do that, because I know I'm going to have trouble lining it up, I'm going to go ahead and use some art glitter glue on the back of my foam. So I've got a little bit of wiggle room for when I get it slightly off, because I know I'm gonna. This has got too much area for me to not mess it up at some point, right? And I'm going to try to line it up right with the matching edge. So far, so good. Okay, so that looks lovely. It's going to be going onto a dark blue card base. This one I think looks the best. It does have a little bit of ink down here. Let me try to get some of that off. And that's because I got some of the inks on my fingers and didn't realize it and was still touching things. Put my foam tape here, slide up about there, put some foam tape on the other side, and that's going to go on the actual card base. And then that leaves that little slot down in the middle. I need to make sure I leave enough space for my border there. Okay, so that looks like it fits just perfect, and that could actually work as a slider. That's funny. Okay, so that is about where I want that one to be, and then this little guy will cover that little bit of ink that I did. Perfect. Okay, great. Let me go ahead and peel off the tape. Put a little adhesive, little glue on the back of both of those and in the center. Oh, no, I don't want to do that yet because I don't have this adhered down yet. Go ahead and do that first. Okay, making sure I've got the top. This is a top fold card base because I just happen to have it in my stash. I want to make sure I have the top at the top. And I do, which is good. Okay, now I can do this guy. Add some glue back because it had a little bit of time to dry. And then go ahead and find the channel. There we go. I think that's going to be good. And then just adhere this one down. And that's going to finish up that card. Now you could always add your floss or stitching, whatever you want to, on this one. There's plenty of opportunities to do that. But I think that this works out just as well, even if you don't want to do any of the stitching and you just want to do your stamping and die cutting. So thank you guys for tuning in. You guys have a wonderful day. Be sure to check out the playlist, and remember, if I can make it, you can too. Have a great day.